Hey, welcome to Treehouse of Horror 4, Episode 1F04, first broadcast October 28th, 1993. This is Matt Groening.
This is Dave Mirkin, showrunner, executive producer.
Jim Brooks.
Greg Daniels, one of the writers of one of the pieces.
Well said. Well said. David Silverman, the director of the episode.
Josh Weinstein, one of the other writers.
Bill Oakley, one of the other writers.
And Conan O'Brien, I put a lot of work into the wraparounds. Make sure everything, that really pulls the whole episode together.
Well, I just loved Night Gallery when I was a kid, so this was great fun to do a parody of Ronald Serling, Walk and Talk. Well, they never really had a shot where you pan with them this way, but this seemed to be the best way to show the paintings that we did.
You should warn people this episode is very frightening. And maybe they'd rather listen to that old War of the Worlds broadcast on NPR.
Yes, Mother.
Good. Now you hold Maggie. I'm going to buy some earrings at the gift shop.
The subject of our first painting tonight is the most foul, evil, vicious, diabolical beast to stalk the earth. Of course, I refer to the devil.
This is an episode that I do a lot of moving of the camera and pulling back and revealing for all the sort of the fire effects of the devil and so on.
Raspberry cream.
Ooh, pure genius.
The Halloween episodes they're probably the hardest ones to do every year, mainly because we're doing 3 stories plus a wraparound thing and fitting it into this incredibly short amount of time, 22 minutes, 43 seconds, whatever. And having, 3 complete stories is really, really difficult. And things have to happen really, really fast. They're really just crammed with jokes and story beats and everything.
Dear Homer, I owe you 1 emergency donut signed Homer. Bastard! He's always 1 step ahead. I'd sell my soul for a donut.
Well, that can be arranged.
Flanders! You're the devil?
It's always the one you least suspect. Now, many people offer to sell their souls without reflecting upon the grave ramifications.
Greg, your credit is funniest spelling of a credit, I think. I think because it's Greg, it's alive Daniels with 3 eyes.
Yeah.
And Greg, this is your sequence, is it not?
This was, Dan McGrath and I wrote this one, and we collaborated on all of every time we did a Halloween episode, we used to do it together, and we had a lot of fun doing it together, making an ad hoc little writing team.
If I don't finish this last bite,
it was great. It had a real nice little 3-part structure to this within, the context of just this one act story. This, of course, is Fantasia.
That's beautiful.
This is really cool. Really great animation.
That's great animation.
Yeah. And then, of course, the little flash of Flanders' face. It was a Brad Bird suggestion, a great idea that just before he flashes down, we see Flanders' face.
And I love the idea of Flanders being the devil because it was a great twist, and Harry did a terrific job playing Flanders in this much darker way, but yet still very true to the character.
This is great fun. I love doing these shots, these sort of fisheye shots of distorting the whole perspective. I'm having Marge's hair growing really long, being pulled.
No, it's a great nightmarish look.
Donut?
no.
Your wide behind won't save you this time. Hey, Bart.
Hey.
That was my favorite joke.
That was a great joke.
Very familiar with the devil.
Very familiar with Bart.
Process and fair trials.
We were trying to do a lot more acting. I was trying to do more accents, hitting these points that the performers were hitting with their voices. It's just a lot of fun. I always love to do a shot like this if we can, just a fun spinning shot of confusion and disorientation.
Really
You're
nice.
a master at Homer falling down face.
A lot of people were very disturbed by that, but I thought we did it fairly tastefully.
Yeah.
I was a very strong believer that the Halloween show should actually be scary and not just funny. And of course,
they're always surprisingly. Even when I watch them now, we watch The Simpsons a lot in the writers' room at night after the show, and that's when we eat dinner. And whenever whenever the Halloween episodes are on, they're surprisingly dark. You forget.
But this is very friendly. Now this is based on a cartoon, a Porky Pig cartoon called
Which
Pigs as Pigs.
disturbs me greatly as a
when I was a
child.
kid
I
too.
also saw a Warner Brothers cartoon that did this exact thing.
No, that's the one. With the
Oh,
Porky
yeah, right,
Pig.
right.
Yeah,
Porky Pig, right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
For some
that's
reason,
all right.
I thought Porky Pig was Disney for no reason at all. But yeah, and I love that cartoon.
Yeah,
And
very frightening.
Hear ye, hear ye. The Court of Infernal Affairs is now in session.
Very well. But first, some ground rules. Number 1, we get bathroom breaks every half hour.
Agreed. Number 2, the jury will be chosen by me.
Agreed.
Phil Hartman just so funny.
Phil was great.
Great lighting.
Really great designs from the design department. The Scott Alberts.
An
I believe,
ironic
did a lot of
statement
these.
from Richard Nixon there, who wasn't dead at the time.
Right.
Now he's dead.
He is now. We should go back and fix that.
We actually had a line where Nixon was saying, "Now look, I don't want Booth sitting behind me." I was like,
There's a lot of great stuff cut from this show because these shows always do
so
come out so
long.
long and they have to be cut down. There's a longer sequence of Homer bowling in hell.
Well, we got
And there's
that on.
Bart, Stop Pestering Satan with the race car. All that stuff appeared in the 138th episode spectacular outtake.
So I see you eventually, if you're a big Simpsons nut, you've seen them anyway, but we'll probably put them on the DVD just to say that we did.
Which I delivered, and it was scrum-diddly-umptious.
Glad that you got that Flanders line in there.
I simply asked for what is mine.
Funny, I did an episode about somebody selling their soul a couple seasons later.
Art sells his soul.
Didn't realize I'd done two soul ones.
We didn't now until just now.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't recognize that until just this minute.
Sure.
Yes. And yet the checks come either way.
Mr. Hutz?
There he goes.
Lionel Hutz and they hire
the
him
window
every
is open,
time.
the wind blows,
Yeah.
too.
He never wins. It always fails, and yet each time they still go to him.
That's a photo of Homer and me at our wedding.
The 1976 Philadelphia Flyers, I do recall hearing, they were the worst squad in history or something, right? Is that
Well,
what
what
you chose
happened
then?
is, I think when
That
they
was the
won
Dan McGrath joke,
when
I
they won
think.
the trophy, the fans came and they started to beat up the fans because the fans. Philadelphia was so not used to winning at that point. I'm from there, so I can
that's
talk
right. That
like
was
this,
your thing. I knew
that
it
the
wasn't me.
town went insane. We actually won something. They didn't know what to do, so people started to shoot each other and cut their own heads off. And they ran onto the floor because they couldn't stand the fact that this winning trophy was there, and the Flyers had to beat them up.
We've heard enough. Your Honor, we find that Homer Simpson's soul is legally the property of Marge Simpson and not of the devil.
No.
I look at the credits. My assistant director was Dominic Molchino, who became a director, and then Clay Hall and Neil Affleck were timing directors, and they also became directors.
Clay was on this?
Yeah, he was.
Clay became the supervising director at King of the Hill for many years.
Exactly.
I love the design of this, by the way. This is terrific, David.
I also like he keeps picking at it.
Yeah, he can't help but eat his own head, which is great.
And this shot coming up, I just said, we wanted the policemen just standing there like birds, just sort of waiting for the breadcrumbs.
Police want their donut.
The next exhibit in our ghoulish gallery is entitled The School Bus.
This is great, Conan. This is very funny.
Oh, I love this one.
The Ghoul Bus.
Nope, says right there. School bus.
Brilliant wraparound, Conan.
See, the point here is the stories don't work unless the wraparound sets it up perfectly. So, really, I refer to these shows as wraparound shows, and then the stories are just the interstitial crap.
Hey, Bart, look! Crusty trading cards.
And for this, I looked both at the William Shatner Twilight Zone, and I looked at the John Lithgow. So I used both their faces for Bart, but mostly I'd say Shatner.
I was going to say, to me, Bart is mostly doing Shatner here.
Yeah.
I also recall that there was a lot of work put into the design of the monster to make him still scary within the Simpsons universe.
And it was really well done, again, because the monster is scary looking, and yet it does look like a completely organic Simpson character.
I was scared by this one when I was working on it.
You were scared?
Yeah, I think I remember being actually scared of this one.
And if you know Greg, he does not scare easy, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't tell. As directing everything, I know every single shot, so I don't know if anything's scary because it's like everything's where it should be. So,
was that what inspired you to buy that safe for your office? Remember that? You had a safe in your office that you couldn't close because it was so filled with condensation, right?
Yeah.
It was full of condensation, and then someone stole the condensation
Just to protect our classic scripts.
Condensation for many years ago.
Where's your diaper?
I like the way he kind of stands there.
He just takes it.
He takes it. You know, there's a point where you
Wang Computers is another in the long list of places that said they would send us free stuff.
You check with them ahead of time?
Well, I remember that we got the call. The guy at Wang Computers said they were going to send us all these shirts that had some slogan about Wang on them.
That's
and then I think they went broke or something.
Right before that, it's like suddenly
People
they were
call
like,
me up
Windows?
now from
What?
very
And it was
large
all over.
corporations and say, if you mention our company on your show, we'll send you T-shirts.
It's weird because in the early seasons we did that right and left, and they never sent anything except Stridex pads. We got Stridex pads once.
No, I love that thing that they send you. So that's why every time I write something, they're always moving into a new home.
This is a great joke.
Beautiful new home.
So he comes down, rolls through stop, does not hit the tree, and he floats up.
Yeah,
Right.
we got more and more easy going with things blowing up for absolutely no reason.
Everybody, there's a monster on the
So I designed the monster. He's kind of like
That's just hilarious screaming. I love the way they look there.
No monster.
You're deceptive.
I don't see anything.
Hey, who's driving the bus?
By the way, the dreaded Rear Admiral is there.
There's a lot of that prompted a huge amount of internet discussion.
Yeah,
as well.
it's not a real thing. It was just made up.
It was.
You would imagine it involves some sort of
brilliantly
salute.
made up, by the way,
but
because it
has the
sounds
word
like it
rear in it,
existed.
yes.
And
It's amazing.
And it sounds dirty and kid-like all at once. It's perfect.
So he's kind of a cross between an otter and a monkey.
Which is as scary as you can get, according to Greg. Well, there's an otter / monkey in my safe.
To it.
Yeah, that too. He's a very
He
scary
looks
Dr.
like the Grinch a little bit, too.
But he's too fast. He moves too fast. You know, you couldn't.
Yeah.
By the way, we all know how the buses have these airline windows that pull down. We all know
That
about
was what we call
that.
dramatic license.
Of course, Willie tilts his head just like the monster.
I enjoy the clouds. I really do. They do look like creepy.
Well, it's so rare that you see it raining on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And it's a very moody effect.
It's a cool effect.
This was the first introduction of Uther.
Yes.
Yes. Again, another character like Luigi and the One-Eyebrow Baby that was made up for just one joke and lived on.
Because it's such a perfect stereotype.
His Joy-Joys.
We love it. The marzipan Joy-Joys. And they do eat a lot of marzipan in Germany. It's a very well observed.
Meet iodine.
And they love iodine as well. And again, this is a big kudos to Travis Powers doing really terrific effects sounds that were really important to this episode.
Yeah, you can actually, was listening in headphones, you can hear it go from left to right in a lot of things. Very finely designed.
We have a great mixing crew.
That headphone only has one.
No, when I listened to headphones earlier, I had 2-ear headphones.
Well, now that we're friends, Uther, how about loosening these straps?
I like the way, these things always hit me as odd, but I like them. As Uther leaves for no reason.
No, I don't leave for the sake of the story.
Yeah.
Well, he follows direction very well.
Where was he going?
Well, often on The Simpsons, people state their joke and depart.
That's right. That's right.
The joke's over. Time to go.
I love that. I love that. Bring it back in. Yeah.
And here we go, because this bus is pressurized.
Yes, we have a pressurized school bus.
Even it's only going like 20 miles per hour.
The new school buses are pressurized. This is accurate.
Hey, boy.
I also think the kids are just normal in that shot. They're just sort of resting.
Because there are a lot of free life vests if you go to a marina. You can just grab them out of boats and stuff.
This is, again, what's so much fun about writing this show is that the different forms that you get to write. Where you do something that's a love story one week and then a horror story the next week that has all the problems of dealing with the tension and the excitement and the action.
He's not happy with the situation.
Gadzooks!
Look at the bus. I was right, I tell you. I was right.
Right or wrong, your behavior was still disruptive, young man.
This is a good way to do this gag. Is the reveal of
the
Nelson.
remainder of your life. That's what happens to him.
At least now I can get some
That's the European ambulance that we always use. It's much funnier.
See, that is scary.
Spinal column
And he
coming
could
out of the bottom of the head. That's really gruesome.
And he could still talk. Look how beautiful these paintings are. They're just great.
That's Picasso and Magritte. And, of course, our favorite painting, the famous dog painting.
It's so nice of David to share credit with the painting.
Exactly. I sort of went over the top of the animation here.
Yeah, this is Silverman. This is like ultra Silverman.
Sorry to go with this painting, but it was far too intense.
Well, it's one of these things where it's like a reading that
look
good.
at the
You don't
expression
wanna,
on the dog
you
in
want
the
to animate it. And there it is in the back.
This sequence was written by Bill Canterbury.
Blood with 2 teeth marks on his throat. This black cape was found on the scene. Police are baffled.
We think we're dealing with a supernatural being, most likely a mummy. As a precaution, I've ordered
So, of course, this is based visually on the
Francis Coppola's Dracula.
From
Francis Coppola.
And that was great fun to study that. The opening of that film was just beautiful, just all the effects he did.
It was all shot indoors, I think, wasn't it? It was all studio.
It was all.
Yes.
It was all studio.
It was all done. It's no location animation, actually. All
and it's a
animated
terrific
inside.
movie, and it's very, very funny itself, and on purpose. It's quite humorous. And I was a big fan of the movie. I think I pushed for this to be a vampire sequence.
Yeah.
And it worked perfectly. I mean, our characters sadly fall into this category so easily.
I mean, Burns is perfect as Dracula. This is one of my favorite jokes. I've always thought Pennsylvania had a creepy sound to it.
Right.
Again, as someone who's from there, it's not scary enough. It's much worse.
Did everyone wash their necks like
I think there's great music cues that Alf Clausen did throughout this episode. It's our first.
That's
Our first
in the movie.
homage to
First
the
homage.
Coppola, yeah.
Fresh victims for my ever-growing army of the undead.
Sir, you have to let go of the button.
Oh, son of a bitch!
And trying to get the scope of the place.
Very nicely designed, David.
His hair was just worked perfectly.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect for him to be that.
Right.
And the shadow is out of sync, but it's not enough out of sync, I don't think. Well, here
People
it
always
is.
think that yo-yo is a great like freeze frame shot. I always thought it was very obvious, but people think, "Oh, I really caught that." You know?
Right. There's nothing else happening on the screen at the moment to distract your attention.
Make sure you got that.
Dad, this is blood.
Correction. Free blood.
And he gets, of course, a little mustache.
Bart and I have to go wash up. Well, you didn't get any on me.
The way that Lisa keeps her gaze forward as she just puts blood on Bart's face.
Stumble in a secret hiding place.
This is a great reveal.
That is a great joke.
All right, let's just go back.
I think I was supposed to have an arrow there, but they forgot to put it on or something like that.
Yeah, I think we didn't have money to go back and put the arrow. We figured
Something
it was
like
close
this.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Another reference to Steve Allen.
Steve Allen, if you don't know the reference, wrote zillions and zillions of books as well as zillions of songs. So we also threw him in on there. And he would be very pleased with that reference, by the way. I once did a joke.
Yeah.
All the Three Stooges. I once did a joke working with Steve Allen on the old Gary Shandling show. It's Gary Shandling show, where he was playing the piano, and I knew he wrote a zillion songs. So he said, "Here's a song I wrote while I was just playing the last song." And I thought he would be insulted by that. He loved it. He absolutely loved it. That was his goal right there.
He had a very good sense of humor.
He did.
Those transition animations worked out really very well. We just did them very roughly. You just sort of sketched them roughly, and they followed them very well.
Dad, Mr. Burns is a vampire.
I like the bones.
Why, Bart is right here.
Hello, Mother.
I'm going to make sure that you got Mr. Burns first, then we pan down to Bart.
Oh, Lisa, you and your story.
It's one of my favorite jokes.
Now let's go back to that building thingy where our beds and TV is.
And this got so many people off drinking, that joke. I mean, I get a letter probably every 2 weeks still thanking us.
Drinking blood anyhow.
So now we've gone from Coppola to the Lost Boys, obviously.
The Lost Boys, yeah.
Right. We had a really good joke. We had an E.T. joke where E.T.'s flying in the air with the boy, in front of the moon, and all the vampires attack him.
That was a sad loss.
Little Potemkin for you.
How many times have I told you that?
The teeth sort of go back in.
Halfway back in.
Grandpa comes in out of nowhere.
He's a vampire.
It's a variation on another joke.
Yes.
Flanders was
killed
a
Zombie Flanders?
Yeah, that's right. He's a zombie? Yeah.
Exactly.
So they would have been
As I
murdering
say,
each
as
other
the
if it
checks
hadn't
come
been for
either
this.
way.
That's right. And who's to say which one came first? There's no way to know for sure.
This is a very funny little acting bit that Brad Bird suggested for Homer.
That's
we
great.
got that from a character, Humphrey Bear, in the old Disney cartoons. The Humphrey Bear and the Ranger.
We got a letter from Disney about that. Please
The checks keep coming.
do not do the Humphrey Bear move again.
Another great joke. And a great reading by Yardley.
Dad, that's his crotch.
Sounds like a
little giggle and the sound in there.
Very realistic crotches. So.
This is a very obvious joke, but yet it gets a big laugh for some
absolutely.
reason, but it works.
You're fired.
Everything back to normal.
Now, this ending was suggested by Mike Reese.
No, it was actually the fact that it turns into the Peanuts was me. 'Cause
Well, that was you.
I was a
That's
fan
right.
of Peanuts, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
the
sorry.
singing.
The singing.
Oh, yeah.
The singing stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's the wrong holiday. So we start singing a Christmas. It turns into a Christmas thing after they say Happy Halloween. We're always looking for endings on this, and so we just went completely insane.
It's a great way to get out because it doesn't look good for Lisa, and then everything ends nicely for her.
He just gets happy.
We're just playing. We're just doing skits.
Yeah.
And then it worked great because we have the dog
And Homer's
doing
pig
the
pen.
Snoopy dance and everything.
Yeah. It was late. People wanted to go home.
Exactly. It was very, very late.
We actually had a setup earlier where I think the first coffin that Homer rips open is a bunch of Christmas decorations. And they showed up later when we had this thing. We had a Christmas tree with the decorations you saw earlier.
That's right. So we had it, yeah.
But the joke was...
This is a great combination that Alf did of the Munsters and the Addams Family. It's the Addams Family sound, but it's the instrumentation of the Munsters. The electric guitar lead is from the Munsters, but the timing and the clicking is from the snapping is from the Addams Family.
And then the harpsichord. Wow, that's great.
So he was actually sued by both simultaneously. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
And Fred Gwynne sued him just on principles.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, who wrote the Gracie theme? The Gracie Films theme. Who wrote that?
I don't know.
How did you come up with that Gracie thing? Did you just one day?
Oh, yeah.
The shh. Who does the shush?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
Who does do it?
It might be De Niro.
Just like her glasses.
Well, I guess that's it for
Let's do it.
episode.
That was a great run through.
Conan,
Let's do 'em.
thanks a lot,
do it
man.
for real.
Hey, thank you. It's nice talking to you guys. Bill, Josh, I haven't talked to you guys in like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's good to talk to you.
It's fine, yes.
Keep in touch.
Ahoy now.
Keep in touch.